What's going on, Philly sports fans? It's your boy SalG back up with you on another edition of the Wraparound here on It's a Rap Network. Please make sure you give us a like, share, and subscribe so we can get all this hotness that It's a Rap has to offer out to all your feeds and social media, however you consume your sports content. It's a Rap Sports Network is there to provide you with tons of entertainment. Hope you're all doing well. Another interesting week in Philadelphia sports. Hold on a second here. All right, I'm just checking my pulse. Because my heart's still beating fast after that crazy ending in the Eagles-Rams game at the Link. Had all the makings of a movie. Had the dramatic, the snow, everything that happened in that game. I mean, if that wasn't a movie, I don't know what is. But I mean, edge of your seat, right? Biting your nails, heart beating out of your chest. Whatever analogy you want to use, they had all the feels. I mean, if the Eagles lost that game, I don't know what I was going to do. I was going to be pretty upset. I'm going to be yelling at Kellen Moore to take his job in Dallas and don't let the door hit you in the ass. But the Eagles did win the game, and as far as I'm concerned, you can still take Kellen Moore, and I'll drive him to the airport. But I don't think we're going to miss Kellen Moore much. If and when he takes that job with the Dallas Cowboys, it all looks but certain that he's the number one candidate for Jerry Jones and the evil empire there in Dallas. So you could take Kellen Moore. He can be your head coach. We'll get another offensive coordinator. We'll be just fine. We have Saquon Barkley. We have Jalen Hurts. We have A.J. Brown. We have Devontae Smith. And we have Vic Fangio and that amazing Eagles defense. So the Eagles. So take Kellen Moore off my hands. Take Kellen Moore, please. The Eagles win a nail biter, 28-22 yesterday. Fun game. I don't know if it needed to be as dramatic and scary as it ended up being at the end there. Kellen Moore decides to go pass second down, and Hurts gets hit for the big sack. When the guy can't move, he's lost all mobility after he had that knee injury in the game, and it really could have cost the Eagles the game there. I mean, we won by 6. We could have won by more than that. It shouldn't have been this close, but it was, and the Eagles were victorious on this Sunday, January 19th, 2025. Where were you when the Eagles won? Saquon Barkley is the Los Angeles Rams daddy. Yes, he is. We could say he's the MVP. I think he's the MVP. He's not going to be voted that way by the NFL. The MVP is probably going to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, or it could be how it was many years ago when Peyton Manning and Steve McNair split the MVP award. I don't know. Could we get a 3-way for the MVP? I've never seen that happen before. But if anything, I think it's either going to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, or maybe it's both of them. But I just can't see how the NFL would give it to Saquon Barkley. I think for Offensive Player of the Year, sure, Saquon Barkley's the shoo-in for that award. I want him to be the MVP, though. But we know here in Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley is this team's MVP. He's got my vote for sure, for damn sure. And he had himself a hell of a game. I mean, he owns the Los Angeles Rams. Let's see. In 2 games this year against the Los Angeles Rams, Saquon Barkley has rushed for what? 460-ish yards, something like that. He had 205 rushing yards yesterday. In the previous game, the Rams, what do you have? Like 255, right? Or a number around that. So 460 is about right. and that's pretty ridiculous. That's a sick number. That's half a season for most players, for most running backs, right? 460, 920. Then you throw in the extra game, and yeah, about 1,000 yards. So Saquon Barkley did it in 2 games, and I guess he had to be on that frenetic pace because Saquon finished with over 2,000 yards this year, 2,005 to be exact. The guy is a monster. He's superhuman. Whatever superlatives you want to use about Saquon Barkley, he's that guy. He is awesome. During the game, they showed a part there where they zoomed in after Saquon's second long touchdown in the game, and they showed an instant replay, and they were showing the faces of Saquon and Jalen Hurts, and it looked like they were talking pre-snap. And right before the ball was hiked, and you saw Saquon with a little bit of a grin there, and you wonder if maybe he's just like, just give me the ball, or they checked down to him, and it was an audible, whatever it was. It's just like they knew something. Saquon knew something. Just give me the ball. I got this. And in Saquon we trust. We're going to go as far as Saquon takes us. We're going to ride Saquon Barkley till he runs into the ground, till the wheels fall off. Just ride him, ride him, ride him, especially now with Jalen Hurts and the knee. Okay, we don't know how it's going to become next week. As the game ended yesterday and they showed Jalen coming out the tunnel, off the field, and back into the locker room, he had a visible limp. So you figure if that hurt as much as it did game time with all the adrenaline and all that, well, then once things cool down a bit and your body starts to, relax and the adrenaline wears off, it's probably going to bother him quite a bit, and he had a brace on, and that brace absolutely killed his mobility. I mean, his mobility may have been shit without the brace. You saw he had that safety. That was after the knee injury. He couldn't move. He was running an oatmeal. And that sack he took, he couldn't do anything about that. That second down sack, that Kellen Moore special, where, after Saquon Barkley just ran for 2 long touchdowns in the game, give it to Barkley. I don't know what this drop back stuff is. But anyway, we have a situation to monitor here with Jalen Hurts. Are we concerned? Because even 75% Jalen Hurts, 80% Jalen Hurts, as awesome as Tanner McKee has been, he's better than Tanner McKee. Come on, guys. And I don't want small hands in there. Kenny Pickett in there. I don't want him in there touching that football, especially if it snows again. I don't know what the weather is going to be next week. I see snow again on the horizon. Just please don't let it snow on Sunday, because that snow neutralized any and all advantages the Eagles had against the Rams yesterday. I absolutely believe that. That weather just neutralized the game, brought the underdog up to the level of the favorite, and it was like a toss-up game. And the winner of that game was the one who committed the least amount of turnovers, and it was the Eagles. The Eagles had 2 fumbles, but recovered them both. The Rams had 3 fumbles and lost 2 of them. And that's the game right there. Those fumbles and those recoveries by the Eagles are the reasons we won the game. And Saquon Barkley, of course, and the Eagles defense. And, people are going to trash Jalen Hurts. He didn't have a great game passing. Look, Jalen Hurts still won the game, and he won the game on a bad leg, bad knee. He's still able to do that. He's still a presence when he's on the field. He's still somebody you have to watch out for. I mean, look what happened prior to that knee injury. Jalen Hurts runs for the longest touchdown of his life. Of course it's in the playoffs then, right? 44-yard touchdown run. It was unbelievable. Yeah, I know the snow was a wild card, and that threw a couple wrenches there into the game, into the game plans. Yeah, you're able to break off big plays like that because of the snow. But you know what? So the Rams should have been able to break off big plays too. And they really couldn't. They really couldn't do that. Couple YOLO balls, you know. Kyron Williams, the running back for the Rams, had himself a nice day, but he didn't have a Saquon day. Saquon pretty much doubled what Kyron Williams did. Oh yeah, and Barkley caught 4 balls for 27 yards. Add that. 232 yards from scrimmage yesterday. Guy's a beast, man. 2 touchdowns, 2 runs over 62 yards. Saquon Barkley. That's our guy. And we're going to ride him to the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust. You need Saquon Barkley at the helm. And hopefully you have a Jalen Hurts that's healthier than he was this past week. Adam checking in. What's up, brother? He says, what's up, Sal? Another step closer to the Super Bowl. That's right. Two more, and we got it. And he says, Fandingo. No, it says Fangio needs to stop play, prevent defense at the end of the game. I know. Adam, I mean, at the end of the game there, when we were up a couple of scores, and then the Rams were just able to march march right down the field, which seemed like seconds. It seemed that quick. I look down, I look up, I write a note, I look back up. Oh, they're all of a sudden they're in the red zone. And then touchdown to Colby Parkinson. Who? The backup tight end. Yeah, that happened. Puka Nacua catches a ball off of his shoulder. That might have been actually the last drive of the game, but stuff like that. Yeah, you're right. The prevent defense. Now, I'm going to quote my man Mike Lauro again. He said this when he came on a post-game show with me. He says, prevent defense prevents you from winning. And I agree with that. I think the prevent defense sucks. This bend but not break bullshit. I'm not a fan. Put the clamps down on these guys, man. You put your foot on their throat. Stomp them. Get them out. Win the game. Win it. Don't give them a chance. Take them out. Let's get some more into this game a little bit, man. So we had Jared Verse, stud rookie for the Los Angeles Rams, talking his trash coming into the week, saying, I hate Eagles fans. I hate them. I hate that green and white. I see it. It makes me so mad. I'm paraphrasing a bit. I'm not getting the exact quote here, but I think we all get the message. Jared Verse doesn't like Eagles fans, hates the green and white, wants to talk his trash, comes to the game, he's out on the field during warm-ups, talks trash to the fans, throws his hands in the air, is laughing and smiling, doing everything but giving the bird, right? It's all good. You can talk your trash. You got to back that trash up, that trash talking up. Jared Verse backed up that trash talk. He really did. He did. He got to Jalen Hurts a couple of times, had at least 2 sacks on Hurts, was a disruptor for the majority of the game. Probably going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm pretty sure about that for the Rams. Great player. I mean, he's a candidate to win it for sure. Great player, talks his trash, talked during the game as well. Was talking trash to Jalen Hurts after sacking him. But Jared Verse, you did one thing, the Jared Verse, right? Sounds like the multiverse of Subway sandwiches. That's terrible joke. But the Jared Verse was talking trash during the game to the players, to Hurts, when he would sack them. But Saquon Barkley on that first touchdown run, a 62-yarder, running down the sideline, Jared Verse chasing behind him. You see Saquon just look back, slow down a bit, just enough that he could feel Jared Verse breathing on him, and then he just went right down into the end zone there, scored that touchdown. Probably saying, "Oh yeah, it's you. See ya," you know. And you can't give a peace out to the player or anything like that. They throw a flag because the NFL stands for the No Fun League. Of course, we know that. So I wish they allow players to do any of that stuff. I think trash talking is awesome. When I throw the peace sign, I don't see anything wrong with that. You can't flip a guy to bird. I understand that, but you do a dance in front of a guy or something. That should all be legal as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you make a great play, you get to show it off. The only thing I hate is when guys make a great play and you're down like 3 scores and you start doing a dance, and it's like, well, who are you dancing for? Dude, you're down 21 points, If you got the lead and you want to dance, you want to break it down after sacking a guy, go for it. But if you're down a bunch of scores, the last thing you do, you should get into your sack dance or talk trash. I don't think you should do that. Jared Verse talk trash, backed it up. He didn't get the win though, so we get the last laugh, we get the last word, however you want to put it. We won, and we beat Jared Verse, and we beat the Rams, and they get to go back home. But first quarter, first drive of the Eagles, we know how much trouble they had for the majority of the year scoring in the first quarter. As the season went along, near the end of the year, it seemed like they resolved that. First drive, Jalen Hurts, 44-yard touchdown run. This is what Jalen Hurts can do when he has a healthy knee. Looked real spry on that run, broke a tackle even. Snow wasn't falling that hard yet. I don't even know if there was really much in this city yet. Elliott misses his extra point. He missed 2 extra points in this game. So Jake Elliott, it's back-to-back games now. He's missed extra points. So just go for 2. I don't know. Go for 2 every touchdown. He's hitting his field goals, so I can't shit on Jake too much. He's hitting those field goals, so that's cool. But I don't understand how he's missing an extra point, because isn't that like 25 yards? I don't know, man. He's got the yips from that distance. Eagles up 6-0. And of course, the Rams come back right on their own first drive. Tyler Higbee gets a touchdown. Tyler Higbee, if you guys heard the news last week after his game, was coughing up blood, had to go to the hospital. Then he ended up getting back to LA with the home team and his family and all, but he had to go to the hospital because he was hacking up blood and guts and stuff. So my man, some of these guys, man, are real tough, man. I'll give you that. Scored a touchdown. The Rams up 7-6. And Stafford was hit real hard on that drive. He was trying to do a scramble on a play, and the defense just rocked them on that. And then, of course, the news that might have everybody concerned. I know Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, but from my understanding, he's going to play. He's going to play next week, whether his knee is 100% or not. Another person that got hurt yesterday, and we're not sure about, is cornerback rookie sensation Quinyon Mitchell. He ended up leaving the game after the second drive, or the first defensive drive. He got hurt his shoulder. He never came back in the game. So Quinyon Mitchell, he's out, and I don't know if he's going to be back next week. I hope he is. If he's not, Isaiah Rodgers is going to start in his place. I know there was talk about Isaiah Rodgers getting hurt in yesterday's game, but supposedly he came back, and I didn't see anything. I looked for news articles about Isaiah Rodgers. I didn't see anything about him being hurt after the game, post-game, any of that stuff. So that's good, because if Quinyon Mitchell's not available and then the backup Isaiah Rodgers isn't available, who's playing? Is it Ringo? I don't know who would be your corner, because Ringo, I don't know, man. They'd be playing out of position, but he's a safety, right? But Isaiah Rodgers filled in for Quinyon Mitchell. He had a decent job, but they were definitely attacking his side of the field, whoever he was covering. So expect to see more of that next week too. against the Commanders. They're going to come after Isaiah Rodgers, and they're going to go after whoever he's covering, to be sure. They're going to test them. They're going to test Isaiah. On the third Eagles drive, we had Saquon with that 62-yard touchdown, the YOLO touchdown run by Saquon, where you get to turn back and look at Jared Verse chasing him down. Eagles go up 13-7. Jake Elliott made that extra point. And then on the third LA Rams drive, so there was a YOLO ball thrown to DeMarcus Robinson. Isaiah Rodgers was in coverage. It was good coverage. I mean, you could say it was perfect coverage. Rodgers caught the ball, but DeMarcus Robinson just stuck his hands in there and just ripped it out. So a fluky play. It was a decent Rodgers. You know, how often do you see that happen where the ball's ripped out of another guy's hand like that, up in the air? I mean, it was pretty miraculous. So we stopped the Rams from getting a touchdown there. CJ had a big stop on Kyron Williams on third down that forced the Rams to punt or to kick the field goal. It was a 30-yard field goal. Now a 13-10 game. So it's still a close game. And then we're in the second quarter, and you know we have Jared Verse talking his mess, hitting Jalen Hurts, rocking him, probably making him have a terrible day on the field. Josh Sweat had himself a sack. Big game, nice game by him. And then in the second quarter, on one of the Eagles' drives, the fifth drive, there was a YOLO ball thrown to AJ. And if he would have came down to that ball, we would have been right there, right by the goal line. He bobbled and caught it while he was out of bounds. You know, he jumped up and bobbled. As he's coming to the ground, he catches it. But as he lands, he's out of bounds at that point. So, and I was just, I think I talked about during yesterday's postgame show. Sean McVay's beard, man. I can't. It's not like when they would have these like close-up interviews with him, his beard's like all over. You know, I don't know if he's got his initials carved in. I just can't stand it, man. So whoever Sean McVay's barber is, man, put his barber on notice, man. Clean that stuff up, bro. You got all off season to take care of it. And the first half stats, I mean, there's really not much going on there. And this is before it started really snowing or wintry mixing a lot heavier in the second half. But in the first half, you know, still the weather was still, I guess, it was coming down, but not as hard as it was in the second half. Excuse me. Hurts was 9 for 12 for 66 yards. He had 5 rushes for 67 yards, including that 1 yard or that touchdown, that big run, 44-yarder. Excuse me. Matt Stafford was 10 for 15 for 126 and a touchdown. Nice half by him. DeMarcus Robinson was the leading receiver for the Rams. So, you know, the Eagles did a good job when the leading receiver is the number 3 receiver for the Rams. Because you remember, they have Puka Nacua. He's a stud receiver. He is a beast. And they have Cooper Kupp. And if you remember, Cooper Kupp, just a couple years ago, was the leading receiver in the NFL. I think he had close to 2,000 yards himself receiving. So he's a great player. Fell off a bit. He might not be the player he once was. I mean, Nacua is the surefire number 1 on that team now. Saquon Barkley in the first half, 3 catches, 24 yards, 11 carries for 94 yards, averaging 9.4 yards a carry. That's good. And he got a touchdown. That's 62-yarder. And then we get into the third quarter here, and we just have Jared Verse wreaking havoc. You know, he's all over. You keep hearing his name. You just keep seeing him. You keep seeing him talking trash. He was talking trash to the players, talking trash to the fans again mid-game as he's making play after play. Jalix Hunt stepped in. And remember, Jalix Hunt now is getting more playing time with the loss of Brandon Graham. He's in that rotation more. He's had a big sack on Stafford there on third down, forcing the Rams to kick another field goal. Again, big defensive plays here by the Eagles in this game to have the Rams only get 3 points instead of 6 or 7. 34-yard field goal by the Rams now ties it up 13-13, third quarter here. It's tight. It's tight, guys. The sixth drive then, the next drive for the Eagles, 44-yard field goal by Jake Elliott makes it a 16-13 game. Hurts then bends his knee backwards, man. It looked like an action figure, bending his knee. Oh, my goodness. That looked painful. That looked bad. Had to come out the game after the drive, went into the blue tent, got himself a brace. Got the brace, and you saw how the knee injury and the brace affected Jalen Hurts' mobility. Rams got a safety on the Eagles' seventh drive of the game to make it a 16-15 Eagles game. The Eagles are only up 1 now. Hurts couldn't move with that brace, the knee injury. He couldn't do anything. Helpless. Jalen Carter, big play by him. He was wreaking havoc. Talking about Jared Verse wreaking havoc. Jalen Carter was making plays and being an ultimate disruptor for the Eagles' defensive line there. Punching the ball out at Kyron Williams, the running back's hands, arms, makes him fumble it. Isaiah Rodgers recovers the ball. Big play there in the fourth quarter. That's my play of the game there. Kept the Eagles with the lead. And then we thought Barkley might have had another touchdown, but he was short of the touchdown line on the official replay there. So Elliott has to kick a field goal. It's now a 19-15 Eagles lead. Nolan Smith caused the fumble on Matthew Stafford, and Zach Bond recovers. Please sign Zach Bond. Please just sign this guy to a contract. You have to sign him now. It is 110%. It's the most important thing we have to do this offseason is sign Zach Bond. Why? Because Nakobe Dean is not going to be ready for the beginning of the season next year. So if you're out Nakobe Dean and you lose Zach Bond, your linebacking core is deep doo-doo. You have nobody. So you got to sign Bond. I guess the Eagles could draft a linebacker. That's always a possibility. But the way the Eagles do it, they never draft one early. Jake Elliott kicks another field goal. At least he can make field goals. He misses extra points, but he makes the field goals. 22-15 lead. Whew. Eagles up by a tutty. And then we thought it was over. Barkley. Pew! Off tackle, off guard there. 78-yard touchdown run. Eagles up 28-15 in the game. That should be it, right? We've destroyed them. We're going to wreck them. It's over. Vic Fangio goes, like Adam was saying, Vic Fangio goes into the prevent defense. Rams just march right back down the field again. Colby Parkinson, who? The backup tight end. He gets a touchdown because I think Tyler Higbee looked to have gotten hurt again in that game. He might have came out. Colby Parkinson came in, touchdown. Now it's a 28-22 game. Now, because Jake Elliott missed 2 extra points, instead of being up 8, you're up 6. And now you have a chance to lose this game. The Rams had 7 sacks in this game. I mean, they really put pressure on Jalen. I know some of the sacks were after the injury, but a few of them came before the injury. So the Rams put pressure. Now the Commanders are going to dial up a bunch of blitz packages at Hurts next week. I mean, they have to. They're going to test them. But because we have Saquon Barkley, if they throw a blitz out there and there's a gap for Barkley to run through, that's a home run. That's a touchdown right there. So Commanders, be careful. Be careful with that. Luckily, the Rams come marching down again. Puka Nacua catches a ball, jumps in the air, pins it to his shoulder. And now the Eagles or the Rams are on the 22-yard line. Okay? But then we get Jalen Carter with a huge sack that forces 4th down. Stafford has to throw it. They're out of timeouts. Well, it doesn't matter. It's 4th down anyway. 4th down, incomplete pass to Puka Nacua, and that's the game. But man, was that game a lot closer than it needed to be? I mean, seriously, holy smokes. Man. So that game's over. So are we scared of the Commanders? We're 1-1 against them. This is the rubber match against the Washington Commanders. We get them at home. So I right now I think the Vegas line is like 4.5, favoring the Eagles. But we hope we get Quinyon Mitchell. Hope we get Jalen Hurts back, close to 100%. I don't know if he's going to wear the brace because the brace might limit his mobility even more than maybe just, I don't know. I don't like saying taking a painkiller or something like that, but they might numb it. I don't know. I don't know if they still do stuff like that. I'm sure they do. But I don't know. I'm not scared of the Commanders. I mean, I'm nervous, but I'm not scared. And they could beat us, but I just don't see it happening. And we're going to give them a healthy dose of Saquon and run it down their throats and win the game that way and not depend on Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts is still obviously a big supporting role here on this team. Adam's saying they said when Verse was going off the field, they were throwing snowballs at him. Good. Good. As long as they don't come out and say somebody was packing them with that, putting ice-covered batteries, snow-covered batteries and throwing at them, because that'll hurt and that'll be messed up. So don't do that, Eagles fans. Throw snowballs with just snow in them. I saw Stafford say he's still got more time left in his career, but probably won't be with the Rams. Wow, really? Is his contract up, or do you think the Rams will just move on from him? I mean, in my eyes, Stafford's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he solidified that once he went to the Rams and won that Super Bowl with them. I think he's a great player. He's still got a cannon of an arm. But man, guys, holy smokes. All right, so the cardiac game is over. We got the Commanders next week. We get to host them. So we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully we get clear skies, man. But I don't know if I want to go through the snow action again. All right. Well, Commanders are owned by Josh Harris, and we know Josh Harris also owns the Philadelphia 76ers. And I don't know if there's much to say about the Sixers here, but they just lost 6 straight games in 9 out of their last 11. And they are 2-9 in January. That's their 11 games. They're 2-9 in January. And they've lost 6 straight. And they get to play the Denver Nuggets tomorrow in Denver. And Denver's good. And that's a 10 o'clock game. We're going to lose. We're gonna lose 7 straight. I don't know how we're going to win, right? Because right now, Joel Embiid, he has the facial fractures. He had the the leg sprain, the ankle sprain. Well, now he's got a knee thing, and he's going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. Well, that was a few days ago. They said that, so that means at the latest next Monday, we'll have the valuation on Embiid. And at this point, I wonder, because the 76ers are so out of it right now. They're 15-26. I don't know what kind of playoff run you're going to make if you even get to the playoffs. You're 11th in the Eastern Division right now. You're 11th place. 11th place. What are you going to win? In a week from now, you're probably going to lose another 5 games. Let me just look at the schedule here. Let's see. Denver, that's a loss. Cleveland at home, that's a loss. At Chicago, okay, maybe you could win that one. LA at home, the Lakers, that's a loss. I think they should just shut Embiid down, and you just call this season a wash. And you trade away who you can. And if anybody will give you anything for Paul George, you get it. But he's hurt too. He's got a groin injury. Look, Tyrese Maxey's awesome. And I feel bad for him. He's the guy I feel bad for on this team the most, because this guy can't do it all every night. He needs a supporting cast around him. He's a great player, but he can't be the focal point because defense is, I mean, he's not a big guy. Defense is just to just go toward, double him up or whatever, put pressure on him. He's got to kick it out. Who's he kicking it out to? Embiid ain't playing. George ain't playing. We lost Jared McCain for the season already. There's no way he's coming back even until we make the playoffs. I don't know what we're supposed to do. There's some guys on this team that are bright spots. I mean, Yabusele, man, has been great. Right now, he's got a knee injury, it says. But if you can get anything for this dude, I mean, I don't know if the Sixers want to re-sign him. I wouldn't be opposed to keeping this guy. I think he's a nice player. He's from France. I don't know if he can go back, if he would go back. I mean, he's not going to go back to France at this point. Somebody's going to want him. If you can get something for him, I'd say you do it. But I mean, it's just the stuff with Embiid, man. I'm not going to call him soft, man, but just injury after injury after injury. I mean, when the guy plays, he's one of the best players in the league when he's playing. But when is he going to play? Nobody knows. And as a fan, do you want to go to the game and he's a game time decision and you're paying hard-earned money and you don't even know if this guy's going to play? And if it's a back-to-back game at home, until you know he's playing or not playing, look, if he's playing the one game, he's not playing the next. So you're not going to the next game. I don't know. I just find it that's depressing. It's sad. I do feel bad. I feel bad for the fans. I feel bad for Tyrese Maxey. And then the players that are healthy that are trying their hardest. I mean, what are these guys supposed to do? Now, if you do decide to quit, I mean, what are you going to do? Just tell these guys not to play hard? I mean, all these guys got pride. All these guys are trying to make a living. And the guys that aren't signed next year, they're going to play their ass off. They got to play because they want to try and go somewhere else if it's not here. So this sucks, man. This isn't the Flyers. This isn't the situation where you come in and the ownership and the management's telling you, look, man, we're a rebuilding team. Do not expect a Stanley Cup. You're not going to get it. And we're not going to go for it. But the Sixers supposedly were all in this year. They're all in. And this is what you get. 15-26. And you got guys you don't know when they're going to play. You signed Embiid to a contract, and he can't play 2 games in a row, and you gave him max money. You signed Paul George, who looks like he's old. He can't play anymore. He's just not the same guy. You gave him max money. He's the big free agent piece you brought in to put us over the top. It's a shame what happened to Jared McCain. It really is, because maybe this team would be kept afloat with just Maxey and McCain, and then the other supporting pieces we have, the secondary players, Yabusele and company. Maybe they could do something. And then maybe they could have brought in another piece at the deadline. But at this point, if you bring in another piece at the deadline when you're not even at 500 yet, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and you're lying to the fan base saying you're a contender when you're not. And you're just wasting picks, or you're wasting assets. I just think it's foolish. Adam's saying it's supposed to be 40 degrees and sunny on Sunday. All right, man. I'll take that, man. Whew. That's pool weather, brother. I hate this cold, man. Up 40 degrees to me, man. And Adam's, saying what everybody else is feeling. I can't watch the Sixers till they finally get rid of Embiid and build around Maxey and McCain. I mean, that's what you have to do. Build around these guys. But, man, if they trade McCain, I don't know if I could ever watch a Sixers game again. I mean, they wouldn't do that, right? And maybe nobody would want him now, because if you're trading him, he can't play this year anyway. So it's just a lost season. So if anybody would trade for him, they would have to be a rebuilding team. A contender is not going to pick him up now. I'm saying Paul George is another James Harden. And I'm guessing not the good James Harden. Of course, when James Harden leaves Philly, he ends up being a pretty damn good player again. I don't know. Or is he toast now too? I mean, I know James Harden's older now. I wouldn't want Harden back. I don't want Jimmy Butler. I don't want these old guys, man, that have this thing about them where it's like, you should trade me because I'm not happy here. I want to leave. You should just trade me because I want to leave. And I don't think it works like that. You're getting paid tons of money, man. Play. I need a water break, man. Non-stop talking here. Just play, man. All right, guys. Well, you're tuning in to the Wraparound here on It's a Wrap Network. Please make sure, throw up a like for your boy. Throw up a like for It's a Wrap. Throw up a like. Yeah, throw up a like anyway. Throw up likes. Just throw them up. If you can throw up more than one, throw up more than one. Like, share, and subscribe with your friends. Adam's asking me for a score prediction for the Eagles. Oh, man, I don't even have time to think about this, Adam. I want to put the spread in play here. Four. Let me see here. 27-23. I'm only with 27-23. That's my prediction. Dave Yarnell, what's going on, buddy? He says, I'm liking Dembona. Kid has a future. All right, so we have something else here to build, a piece to complement Maxey and McCain, and that's what we need. So if Bona looks like a player, these are the guys you can't get rid of. I'm just scared. I'm scared that the Sixers are going to do something rash, something foolish, because in their heads, maybe it's Daryl Morey trying to save his ass too, saying, I'm going to make this big splash trade deadline acquisition, and it's going to put us over the top, and then they bring in a guy and they trade valuable assets like Bona, like McCain, and then that sets us back because it's not going to work. That's the sad part. My man Adam, man. What's up? Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. He says, great show, Sal. Keep up the great job. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's hard to stay positive with the Sixers, though. It really is, man. I mean, they are my least favorite team to cover here right now. It's a shame. The high hopes. And if they could get somebody for Yabusele, they should. But if it's a possibility you can sign Yabusele for a couple of years, and maybe it won't cost you that much, he's another nice player too. Power forward, I like him. I do. I think he's good. Yeah, man. The Commanders owned by Josh Harris and the Sixers owned by Josh Harris. So we know Josh Harris, he's in it for the money, man. And you know what? Don't be surprised if Josh Harris sells his team back to Comcast. He's going to make some bread and he can sell the team and be done with it. Because my man owns like a franchise in every sport, it seems like. I'm pretty sure he owns a hockey team too and a soccer team. I don't think he owns a baseball team though. But speaking of baseball, them Phillies, pitchers and catchers, baby, it's happening. It's coming up soon. February 12th, pitchers and catchers report. And then the full squad is slated to report Monday, February 17th. And right now, the Phillies news. It's a Japanese player. It's a spring invite from Philly. No, it's not Roki Sasaki. He gets signed by the Dodgers. Everybody gets signed by the Dodgers. You know what? My least favorite, screw hating the Braves, hating the Mets. I hate the Dodgers because it used to be the Yankees were the evil empire that they bought everybody. It's now the Dodgers, and they are the team. No other major league team. If you're any other fan of baseball, any other fan of any other team, you should hate the Dodgers because they're just trying to buy championships. And I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of crap like that. And you know what? Sometimes spending the most money and buying all the players doesn't guarantee you a World Series. Sometimes you just get hot at the right time, and a team like the Dodgers, who has all these pieces, if they all get cold at the wrong time, you lose. You lose the game. That's it. You know, they signed Tanner Scott to a 3-4 year deal. He's a big bullpen piece. Kind of wish the Phillies got him, but we didn't. But you know, if we don't get him, the Dodgers get him. Roki Sasaki, the number one prospect, I guess, the international prospect, only cost $6.5 million because he was under 25, and that comes out of international pool signing money. So all he got was $6.5 million, and now he's under Dodgers control for 6 years. It's sick, man. It's crazy. Their rotation is going to be nasty, but you never know. Guys get hurt. So I mentioned the Phillies brought in a Japanese spring invite. It is Koyo Aoyagi. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that, butchering that guy's name. Apologies. 31-year-old right-hander. He was posted by the Hanshin Tigers in December. He logged a 3 ERA and a 1.31 whip over 114 innings last year in Japan. He might try and land a spot. You know, maybe we'll be on the Phillies opening day roster. He might have to begin his career in AAA. We'll see what happens there. Phillies made a deal with the Dodgers. Speak of the devil, we got Dylan Campbell in exchange for international bonus pool space because the Dodgers need more international pool bonus money because they're going to sign all the Japanese players. They want to go to LA. It's closer to Japan. Flights to Japan, they don't go over the Atlantic, so they go over the Pacific. So it's quicker to get to Japan from LA than it is from Philadelphia, New York. And you're flying like all the way around the world. So Dylan Campbell, who is he? I don't really know. He's a bat. He's 22 years old. He's an outfielder. Again, he's depth, probably going to be in AA, AAA even. But a bunch of guys got invited to spring training. I know that much. Andrew Painter got invited. Crawford got invited. Aiden Miller got invited, a bunch of other players, a bunch of other non-roster invitees. So you're going to see some guys here. You never know. They might not. They might claim a spot in the bullpen. They might end up getting that last bench piece, that last bench role, you know, in the lineup. So you never know. I always get interested by that stuff because you never know. Sometimes you can find diamonds in the rough. Sometimes there's guys that you know mid-season, if there's an injury to somebody, you can call up. And you can call one of these guys up and bring them up. So, you know, some optimism there. You know, I'm excited for the Phillies. Do I wish they could have went and you know, got all these top guys? Yeah, I do. But I'm realistic in knowing that, you know, they don't have all the money in the world. You can't sign every $300-400 million contract player. It's not feasible. You can't do that. And we are going to have money coming off the books in the next year or 2 and 3. So, you know, there's more free agents we'll be able to sign. So, you know, we'll contend. We'll just see how things go. You know, it's hard to say right now. Oh, we also signed Ronald Acuna's cousin, believe it or not. His name is Nieves Izaguirre. So he's 17 years old. He's a shortstop. So, you know, he's 17, he's a shortstop. He can end up being anything technically at that point. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to him, but don't be surprised in a couple of years. I mean, Ronald Acuna came up, when he was 19, 20? So maybe in 2-3 years from now, you know, Ronald Acuna's cousin, Nieves Izaguirre, comes up and lights the world on fire. And he's got that Acuna blood in him. So you never know. I'm saying don't let Josh Harris near the Phillies. Well, hopefully John Middleton isn't looking to sell his team or his shares anytime soon. Hopefully not. Dave saying, am I the only person who's not a fan of Thompson? No. I know there's on this network here, Dave, there are some people who dislike Thompson. I am a Thompson fan. I think he's a good coach. Is he perfect? No. Does he do some weird things sometimes? Head scratchers? Yes. But for the most part, especially this past season, the moves that he makes, they just seem to work. They work for him. And the team ends up working for the team, and the team will win. So, the team had a good season. Is it Thompson's fault they lost? No, I don't necessarily think that. I just think that you got too many guys that do the same thing in the lineup. You have a lot of Nick Castellanos. Now, Nick Castellanos had himself a good playoff. And he might have been, after the second half on, our best hitter on the team. But what I'm saying by you have a lot of Nick Castellanos types, you have a lot of guys that just can't take pitches. And they like this when they're free swingers, and they never met a pitch that they didn't like. And, that's what a lot of these guys are. And if they can just, I'm not saying change the approach entirely, just come about it a different way. Take a pitch here and there, work counts, play small ball. And they did that. They did that in the first half of the season. And then the second half came, and it's kind of like they lost their identity. It's such a long season. It's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to say even. Adam's saying, hope he makes the roster so we can get rid of Walker. Yeah, right. You know what? Even though we got Jesus Luzardo, just something telling me that Taijuan Walker is going to be the fifth starter to start the season. I just have this feeling. It's the Negadelphian in me. I just see him starting. He's going to at least start April, and then mid-May, if he stinks, then they'll be at that point, they're going to say, the hell with him. Cut him. He's done. It's over. All right, let me go ahead. There's one more team here to talk about. We got the Fly guys here. The Flyers are now in their second half of their season, and they're looking pretty well so far. Looking pretty good. 21-20-6 above Hockey 500. They are in sixth place in the Metro Division. So the Sixers have an opportunity. The Flyers have an opportunity here to get a playoff spot. They're tell you what, guys. Ever since the Anaheim Ducks came to town, and we had Quitter Gauthier come in, and I keep saying the Sixers, the Flyers, and the Flyers just handled business that day. They won 6-0. They shut them out. They hit hard. I mean, they had a complete game, all-around game. That was awesome to watch. If you're not a big fan of the Flyers or a big fan of hockey, go ahead and watch that game. Go watch it. You can, if you can watch it now at this point, you could probably speed through commercials and all that stuff. Go watch that game. Watch how fun it was. Watch the atmosphere in the arena, just hearing the crowd at the Wells Fargo Center, just yell, chant. I mean, it's like an international soccer game. That's what it was. That's the vibes. Playoff hockey during the regular season. That's what these Flyers gave you. Sixers, I did it again. All right. The Flyers, over the past week, they're 3-0-1. They are 4-3-2 over their last 9 games. And then, like I mentioned, 4-0-1 since the Ducks and Quitter Gauthier came to town. The Flyers play the Red Wings at home tomorrow, the third and final matchup between the clubs. And, I like everything I'm seeing from these guys. Urson seems to be playing really good now. Maybe he's over that groin injury. One can only hope he's over it. The Noah Cates line, Noah Cates, Bobby Brink. I mean, they look great, these guys. They look really good. Tyson Forrester. I forgot about him. He's part of that line too. 9 goals, 15 points in the last 18 games for Noah Cates. Travis Konechny is 10th in scoring in the NHL. Travis Konechny, man, can get 40 goals this year, for sure. So the Flyers are rebuilding, but they're doing it in a way they're still playing competitive hockey. They're entertaining, and they don't quit. I mean, these aren't a bunch of. This isn't like put a paper bag over your head and go to the game. You're really getting something here. If you're a fan and you want to go support the team at a home game, it's a good time. It is. It's fun. Are they going to win a Stanley Cup this year? No. I'd bet money on it that they're not going to. I'll take the field, right? They're not going to win the cup. But if they put themselves in a good position here, and right now I trust Danny Briere and I trust Keith Jones, that they're going to do the right things. They have multiple draft picks next year in the first and second rounds. Okay, three in each round, first and second. Okay, if they use those picks wisely, whether it's they draft players or they trade those picks away to get some type of talent in here, you can really have something here. And if the goalie happens to figure himself out, if it's Urson, cool. If it's not, then we're going to naturally lose. Because if your goaltending really sucks, you're not winning any games. And, the Flyers got some deficiencies. They have a power play that stinks. Okay, the goaltending is the worst in the league. All right, it's getting a little better. They don't have a number one center. They don't have a number one defenseman. They need all these things. But once they get them, everybody just shifts into place. And maybe it's better for everybody. Everybody's in a spot. Instead of saying playing a guy out of position, playing a guy on the first line who's really a second or a third liner, then if you get that player in here who is a top line guy, then these guys shift down and they're in a more comfortable spot. They're in a spot built for them. And that's what you want to see. And I'm digging it, man. I'm digging what they're doing. Yeah, Dave, Flyers are a wild card to me. Not sure what team shows up each night. You're right. And that's why their record is 500. Because they lose one night, they win the next night. But I'm telling you right now, the start of the second half, that Ducks game, I'd like to think it might have changed something. We're not going to know now for another month or two. I'm not saying they're going to win the cup, but they're pleasantly surprised if they contend, if they make the playoffs as the final seed in their conference. All right, it's like being nominated for an Oscar. It's an honor just to be here. That's what the Flyers are looking at it like. But even then, even if they go on a winning streak, they're not going to bring in the pieces to contend this year because they know they can't. Excuse me. One thing Keith Jones said, and I agree with this sentiment. He says, we're not going to bring a guy in just to bring a guy in. You could sign a center. You can sign a defenseman. But is it the right center? Is it the right defenseman? That's the important part. You want to sign the guy that's the guys that are right for the team. You don't just want to sign a guy because he happens to be available and he checks that box. You want him to be the right guy, the right fit. And if he is, then, Flyers to the moon. Flyers are 4 games out of the wild card. Not far off. February 8th, I'm going to see the Philadelphia Wings at 1, then the Flyers versus the Penguins at 7 the same night. Double dipping, Adam. I like it, buddy. That's the night. What are you going to do in between? You got 3 hours. You got 3 hours. You just hang around. I guess you can go to Xfinity Live or the casino. Oh man, that's a fun night, man. Excuse me, guys. All right, guys, I'm up against it. I'm hitting an hour now. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please leave your likes, comments, Hey, leave a comment too. Excuse me. I better be signing off because I can't talk anymore. I'm coughing. Likes, shares, subscribes really means a lot to all of us here. We'll talk to you on the next one, guys. Take care, everyone. Peace. I missed it. I missed my mark. Peace.